Hi, everybody. This is Vic Mignogna, Broly from Dragon Ball Z, Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist, and this is A.C.M.G. presents Talk Time Live.
It's time. Talk time. Let's go. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Live. Started in the 80s with Matt Cross. Dudes in the hood might have called that soft, but I carried that cross like Jesus did. Fast forward, I teach the kids to learn how to let go, live life, and show love to all things that don't matter where y'all from. And luckily, there's a show called Talk Time. We've been waiting for this for a long time. Dax kicks the facts on all the geek news, special guests and unbiased reviews. Suburban kids, the hipster street dudes, all can learn something new. Me too. I heard words when no faith is empty. I stayed the course so my haters tempt me. Beat the podcast, that'll make them envy. It ain't too trendy, it's A.C.M.G. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is A.C.M.G. presents Talk Time Live, the Prime Show. I am your host, Xavier Josiah. Welcome to the final Talk Time Live of 2018. As you know, tomorrow is going to be Christmas Eve. Christmas is after that. New Year's is next week. So I'm going to take a 2-week hiatus, and that means this entire episode is going to be packed because I got video game news. I also have other news going on in the world of our favorite fandoms. So we're definitely going to talk about it all in this episode. I mean, not only, this is going to be a big episode, 4 reviews, 1 anime, 1 comic book related TV show, and 2 movies that we're going to talk about. This is going to be huge. I mean, I was just going to stick to a lot of the actual reviews that we're going to do because there's a lot, but there's some news we got to talk about. There's some major news that we got to talk about this episode. So this is going to be a very impactful episode indeed, to say the least. But, before I do, I want to say happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas when that time comes to those who celebrate it. And, a great happy new year to you all. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the best of 2018. Our voting in our ACMG Facebook group is going to be, up starting next week right after Christmas. So, and it's going to be all the way till the week leading to that episode. So we're going to get our votes in as we always do every year and talk about it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what people are going to think. What's the best anime that they like this year? What's the best movie? What comic book that they actually like? And it's interesting because I had this question for our ACMG Facebook group asking about as to whether they still read comic books. I don't hear a lot of comic book posts in our group, and now they're starting to sprout up now that I mentioned it. But, I noticed there's a lot more talk about comic book TV shows, a lot more about comic book movies, but not a lot about comic books. And the interesting thing also is because here in Philly, we have a trademark comic book, shop in this area called Fat Jacks. And Fat Jacks has been around for, I think, some like 30 years. And got some sad news coming up, talking about how they may be closing down in a year. They have a GoFundMe up. I'm not sure how legit this is. I'm hoping that it is. In some cases, I'm hoping it is legit. And in some cases, I'm hoping that it's not. Because if it's legit, they're in trouble. If it's not, then somebody needs to be arrested for trying to scam. And after the whole situation with the homeless GoFundMe scandal, people, I know there's going to be people having their reserves about it, myself included. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, but if Fat Jacks, which has been around for that long, and I used to go to Fat Jacks when I was a kid and go there often to get my comic books, especially in the 90s, especially because I used to work near there. I used to work at CVS near that area. But yeah, that's really sad news if that is true. But I hope for the best for them. But that's really saying, like, are people still reading comic books? I know we got Amalgam Comics and Coffee House, which is in Fishtown, you know, by Ariel Johnson and everything. But the gimmick that she has with that is that it's a hybrid. It's a fusion place. It's like, you know, so even if comics does go out, she still has the coffee house and she can change it up to something else. But I don't know how well comic book sales are doing over there as opposed to, you know, the sales that she get from the in-house coffee and cafe portion of it as well. So, you know, that's going to be played. Plus, her name is huge out there. So that helps the whole thing very well. Her being the brand herself helps her company very well to that extent as well. So it'll be interesting to see how things go. But I know a lot of people have gone into digital as well. I've gone into digital myself, and that's mostly because I don't have a comic book shop near me, you know, that I can get stuff in. Plus, the value of the comic book itself, as much as the nostalgic people from the past love the actual paperback portion of it, because they, you know, it's a part of their memories in life, and like I said, nostalgia that they want to hold dearly, and I get that. I truly understand that. Me personally, I think there's a lot of advantages to, you know, the digital part of it, especially me being a graphic designer. I can do some really cool things with those elements that I can't do with the actual comic book. And if comic books were still in somewhat of a value to physical copies, and if I had enough room to put all that in, it would be a definite. But I don't really have. I'm like 41 going to 42 in January the 14th, and I don't really have enough room in this office to stack comic books. This office is for business purposes only. You know, the only thing that's going up is like certain collectible items that are in here. You know, if I put like all my stacks of comic books in here, it's not going to fit. They're in the closet. You know, some of my most cherished ones are in the closet right now with a whole bunch of other things. And, you know, it's hard, but it's going to be interesting to see. I hope that's not true. Again, I hope Fat Jacks remains open. I hope they get the support they need. But honestly, if it takes for them to have a GoFundMe to stay alive, what's going to happen down the line? They're going to need more of a GoFundMe to stay alive again. So how many GoFundMes are we going to need? It's not a GoFundMe they need people actually buying comics from there. They need some form of way of, you know, marketing themselves. You know, I mean, it's going to take something more than just a GoFundMe. GoFundMe is great for certain things. Keeping up a business is really not one of them to an extent, because like I said, it's like once you get that, and I think they're asking for like maybe 20-30 grand or so to set it to that extent. I think that's how much they may be in a hole. That's what that's to my knowledge, if I remember what the bio said in the GoFundMe page. But if they're that much in a hole and they manage to save it, what are they going to do to maintain it? That's the question. If they don't already have a plan already, that's what I'm worried about right now. So I will see. Like I said, I hope for the best. It was one of my, favorite places to go when I was growing up, and they had 2 stores at that. So, and they never moved away from that area downtown. And I know also the probably thing too is rent has gotten so high in there. It's been crazy, but in that area, and you know, the downtown area in Philadelphia with the rent down there is atrocious, especially down South Street. Just atrocious. It's become a ghost town down there as a result. And you know, there's not that many people, you know, visiting those areas because of that, you know. But we'll see. I hope for the best. I really do hope for the best. But you know, I digress. I mean, we got a lot of news to talk about other than that, but you know, we also got our reviews to talk about. So let's not waste any time, folks. Let's find out what's new in the world of A.C.M.G.
And now, it's time to find out what's new in the world of A.C.M.G.
right, folks, so let's get on with the news. One of the biggest news of the week came in the form of the biggest announcement in anime of this year, and that could be the return of One Punch Man. Season 2 is finally coming. They showed a teaser trailer for it, and people went insane for this. I mean, people are extremely happy. All of our favorite characters is going to be on there. I believe it's coming later on in 2019. I don't think it's the beginning of 2019, but man, people are very excited about this and what's going to come from there. And I can't wait myself. Saitome is a huge character. He's a favorite character by many in the anime world. And I'm looking forward because we didn't think that this was going to happen, or there was rumors that it was going to happen. And in the comics, they didn't. They did continue the actual anime or the manga series in Japan, or just manga period, because they do have an American version. So it did continue, but whether it was going to get another season for anime, that's a whole other thing. And for those who don't understand, all of those manga, which Japanese comic books from from Dragon Ball, Yu-Gi-Oh, Yu Yu Hakusho, Naruto, all this stuff come from a company called Shonen Jump, and Shonen Jump is like the Marvel of Japan, pretty much. And there are other companies out there, manga companies out there, but they're possibly the most successful, especially with Naruto and Bleach and all of those cats are on that one, all that in that one universe, pretty much. So One Punch Man is one of their top favorites as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing. But with the announcement of this further my prediction that Saitama will be on Jump Force. There's no doubt that if normally companies, when they do stuff like that, eventually that also means that they're going to hype it up as much as they can. And what better way to hype it up than to put him in the Jump Force video game, which is the big new crossover that Bandai Namco is coming out for, celebrating Shonen Jump's, long history of characters. And they just announced recently that Deku, which I talked about on Select Start, is going to be in the game. Well, they have a trailer for this now. They show not only Deku from My Hero Academia, but they also show Asta from Black Clover. So he's in it as well. He's in the roster as well. And I think they're going to save him for, if not the last, just a few more announcements, because they already have a large set of characters right now. And again, if you remember what I talked about, they also announced that they're adding on a create a character feature in it. So you're going to have a creative suite in there as well. And I guess you're going to be a part of this Shield Legion, I guess, of people that are going to be able to team up with the characters and such. So, in this huge, multiverse storyline. And this looks good. It looks like it's going to be awesome. This game is creepy good looking. I mean, you got these anime characters that has skin texture that looks kind of real. But they look like the anime characters. It's freaky, but I love it. And so those are the next two that are going to be there. I think One Punch Man indefinitely is going to be in this game. He has to. If Deku's in the game, it's no doubt. Excuse me. So I'm still keeping faith on that. I'm more keeping faith in that right now. For those of you who've been following the Super Dragon Ball Heroes series that's been online, episode 6 is out right now. Finally, I think they waited. It's been struggling to get out for a long time, but it's out right now. About 9 minutes. These are like short series episodes and such, and I haven't really followed up on it as much yet. I'm waiting for the entire season to go in, because when I found out it was like a short series, I kind of just drifted off. It was like the DC short animated series thing with Vixen, which really pissed me off, because I was going to do a whole entire show on that series. Come to find out, they're like 5 minutes each. So I just decided to chill off of that until the whole thing is done. And maybe I'll, review it some other time with there, but it is available. And, apparently it is pretty good, but I'll wait for the end. But I can tell you what else is insanely good. And because we don't have Select Start, I was going to make that a top review for that episode, but we're going to talk about it right now. My thoughts on Spider-Man, The City That Never Sleeps, final chapter, Silver Lining. First of all, great 3-part series. Put it all together. Again, not that long to complete, but again, there are some really challenging modes, even on easy. There's some really challenging side missions and such in there, but they're a lot of fun. And you do get rewarded majorly at the end because the suits that they give you is insane. And off the bat, kudos to Sony, because a lot of people online, I've been reading on Twitter a lot, for Insomniac Games, a lot of people have been clamoring for the Sam Raimi suit from the original Spider-Man series. And lo and behold, not only did they get it, but you get it off bat. You don't have to go through any challenges to get it. You automatically get that suit upon downloading the new, the new series. So they gave you what you want. You got the Raimi suit, and it looks phenomenal. It looks beautiful. I'm not going to say I never was a fan of the Raimi suit, but now that we got all these different Spider-Man, series, these Spider-Man costumes out from the movies, that is my least favorite of them all. I like the suit all the way up until the eyes. I've never been a fan of the eyes. I like the eyes that are in the game now. I like the eyes that are done for the Homecoming one, and even Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was at that point my favorite costume at the time. I thought they perfected what Raimi did and with the first Amazing Spider-Man did, because I hated that suit. That first Amazing Spider-Man suit looked like it was made by basketball rubber. It looked like Spalding made that, or Nike made that deal. So I wasn't a fan of that one, but the recent Homecoming one, the Steve Ditko dedicated one, and those other ones were great. But you got to pay respect to that Sam Raimi suit, just because if not for the success of that film, we would not have gotten any of this stuff. I truly believe that. Sam Raimi did a great job on that first movie, and I know this for sure because I literally shed a tear seeing this, being a fan of Spider-Man and seeing it come to life and the way they did it and put it together. I thought it was great. So much respect to this. But man, I was extremely surprised. This is not it. There were 3. I think the Raimi suit was a surprise, but they had a hidden gem that only Spider-Man fans and readers of the 90s would know. And first, before I even go there, they also provided, if you beat everything in completion, if you beat a certain level, you get the Aaron Aikman armor, which is it's a pretty cool armor. It's kind of anime-ish in a sense, and I like it. There's parts of it I like and parts of it I don't, because I like the helmet, I like the gauntlets, and the boots, but the insides of it kind of has this like almost, what is it? Like kind of it's like a spaceman material, an astronaut material almost, it looks like an astronaut suit in between, but you got these other armor elements, these shoulder pads and the gauntlets and everything. So it's a good suit. I think it's a pretty good suit. I just wish everything else was rather form-fitting, and that's for the other thing too. It looks kind of baggy, but I wish the rest of it was kind of like armor as well. But it's still a cool looking suit. I did play around with it and wear it for a few missions and all that stuff. But they also have the Enter the Spider-Verse suit, which is cool. I mean, you got to pay respect to that movie. So I don't know if that was the Chris Pine version. No, it's definitely the Chris Pine version. I think Chris Pine played the first Spider-Man, and I think Jake Johnson played the second one, if I'm the one from 616. So, it was, that's also cool. But the one that I went crazy, because here's the deal. When I played it and I saw the new suits, and I looked at this one suit, and I'm like, wait, this one doesn't look like the ones that they advertised in online, like from all the articles I've read. And now I looked at the insignia, the spider insignia. It looked a hell of a lot like Eric Larsen's insignia. And I'm like, and then it also had this little black armor thing. And I'm like, no. And somehow, some way, I automatically knew that it's possible that it is the Eric Larsen Spider-Man from Revenge of the Sinister Six. And damn it, they actually gave you that suit. Now, for those who don't know, in the 90s, the boom period, if you will, is what we all called it back then, because that was the era of the rock star artists. You know, Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, Eric Larsen, Todd McFarlane, Mark Silvestri. I mean, you name it. It was just, goodness, Tex. It's just a who's who of just, and honestly, I still say this to this day. I don't think we've had, there's some great artists out there, but man, the art in those comics back then, even Liefeld to the extent, people crap on Liefeld, but man, look, the dude is making money off of Deadpool. There you go. He wins. But I tell you this. I thought that Eric Larsen was one of my favorite artists for Spider-Man. Oh, still to this day, one of my favorite artists for Spider-Man. Dan Slott is also a great artist too, for this era. He's tremendous. But Eric Larsen was mine back in the day. And they did the Revenge of the Sinister Six, which I still own. And I own the physical and the digital version of that. And there was a point where the Sinister Six beat the holy hell out of Spider-Man so bad that they dislocated his arm or broke his arm or whatever like that. And he wakes up. There's a next episode where they, on the front cover, it's him and Deathlok. And Spidey has this cybernetic cast. And they call it a cybernetic arm on the game, but it's an actual cast that he's wearing that is basically shield tech. And he wakes up with this armor, this cybernetic arm, or this cast that he wears, which is supposed to heal his arm much faster and is able to make him mobile with the arm while he's wearing it while it's healing. And it's a prototype, apparently, from the doctors and everything. I remember because Dum Dum Dugan was in this episode and such and everything, too. And he also, teamed up with Deathlok for this episode. The arm never really lasts. I think it only barely lasts an episode. But it was one of the coolest things to see. And him, with his whole entire... And it also shows his suit and battle damage is, like, completely damaged. He has taped, his leg is taped up. I mean, he's just bummed up. He also has this like microscopic eye that he almost on in a Nick Fury type of way, but it's like microscopic. It allows him to see, a little bit better through the lenses that was cracked. So it was just awesome for them to pay tribute to that, which Jim Lee put together and created. I was floored because that was one of my favorite episodes, one of my favorite illustrations, and I was totally ecstatic about this. So that. People are all hype about the Raimi suit. I'm hype about the Eric Larsen battle damage cybernetic cast suit. That's some hardcore old school stuff. And they made a version of theirs to fit the format of the game. It looks phenomenal. It looks exactly like what you saw in that comic. And I had to, there were some new era comic book fans who never read that book, and I had to show them where they got it, where that came from. So I showed him I uploaded the cover and the episode where he, and some of the pages where he got it, man. Go back into your history. That was one of the coolest looking Spideys ever. I mean, that's my favorite one to play now. I love the new armor Spider-Man, the latest Mark IV armored Spider-Man that he had when he was working with Parker Industries. But this one is near and dear to my heart. I mean, this clearly to me made this my game of the year. I don't care if Red Dead Redemption or anything. First of all, if Red Dead wasn't around, Spidey would have instantly got this award, got the praise for that. But God of War was great too. But no, this is my personal favorite game of the year and the absolute greatest Spider-Man game of all time, bar none. I mean, they took this thing and there's got to be a sequel to this. There's got to be a sequel to this. I mean, the storyline is there. For those who didn't play the game yet, fast forward. Because there's some things I'm going to spoil right now. But, Silver Sable comes back to, take out Hammerhead and, stop them from using her tech. And it pretty much is a team up of Spidey and Silver Sable at this point. Teaming up together, and their chemistry is so funny. It's hilarious because Spidey, Peter's trying to get her to lighten up a bit, and she's so uptight and just straight militant that she's trying not to, but she begins to warm up after a while. But big surprise, actually no surprise, during their almost fall at the hands of Hammerhead, who reappears but Black Cat herself. So she is still alive, and she was able to help them out deeply, and MJ is partially happy about that. But they managed to find a way to, team up together, not Black Cat, but Peter and Silver Sable to, defeat Hammerhead, and it was great. It's a great, and there's also new screwball challenges. I actually like the screwball challenges on this one because it's one of those combo gadget deals that you had to do, and I hated the bomb one. I do got to mention that I hated the bomb because I kind of hated it and I didn't hate it, but I hate the ones that make you go at try to chase stuff in a certain amount of time, because it always puts me on edge. Which I guess that was the idea of what they did, but I got through them, no problem. And then there's the other battle, the other battles with the wave battles or whatnot too. But all that is just awesome. It's just absolutely an awesome experience. And what a way to end a great game by giving a great tribute to the one and only Stan Lee, who is in the game's main storyline. And, they definitely had a chance to put that together after the passing of Stan. So, it was just absolutely great. And I have reason to believe that he has seen this game before he passed. I mean, he was in it, for God's sake. So I have reason to believe that he has seen it. Talk about a man. I'm telling you, I say this a lot. When you're that age and you're able to do that much in your life, and and you gave back in so much way, how can you not leave happy? Knowing that you're going to leave, for somebody to prepare to do stuff before, knowing that he's going to pass away, that speaks volumes of how much I believe that he accepted his fate, the inevitable, if you will, which a lot of people don't, because they don't live for the moment enough. They don't live. Some people are going to live in this world not knowing what they could have done, even if they failed, not realizing whether it was going to do it or not, and they decide not to. He took a chance. He went out there. He stuck his ass out, and look what he's done, because he wasn't afraid to go there. He wasn't afraid to stick his ass out there and go. I tell people all this all the time. Put in the effort. Put in the effort, man. Go out there. Put yourself out there. There's some people finally learning that, and I'm very happy that they are, because you only live once, and you got to go for it. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be doing the show. I wouldn't meet the people that I've met, and I feel like I still got a lot to go in my life, but if I unexpectedly went sometime next year, 2019, I don't know. I really don't think I would be upset totally because of the things that I were able to do and the people that I was able to meet. I really don't, but I feel like there's so much more I could give that, I want to do so much more, but excuse me. Honestly, I commend everything that he's done again, and kudos. Without him, we wouldn't have got such a great game like this and everything going around. I just absolutely commend it. This was a great game. Loved it. One of my favorite games of the year. And I think when I do select start as well, I will run down maybe the top 5 games that I love in 2018. Maybe even 10. I'm not sure. Well, definitely do that as well. Going into that is, the new year as well. So let's change on to some DC news here. The Doom Patrol, which a lot of you have got a chance to see in the Titans series. They had an episode dedicated to them. Well, that was a kind of a prelude to the new series that is coming out next year. Preferably February 15th is coming out. And they started by showing the poster graphic for Cyborg, who is going to be played by Joyvon Wade, who is on the first Purge. He's going to be playing the role of Cyborg. Also, interesting thing to note, Brendan Fraser makes his return to TV, or stream TV, if you will, as Cliff Steele. Alan Tudyk, Tudyk actually is going to be Eric Mundit. That dude plays everything. Excuse me. That dude plays in absolutely everything. April Bowlby, which is one of my favorites. She is so damn hot. She played Candy on 2.5 Men and some other shows, but I definitely remember as Candy. She was so funny as Candy. Just loose-brained, hot girl that Alan used to date, and actually Charlie dated, quote unquote, at one point. But she's playing Elastigirl in here too, not to be confused with The Incredibles Elastigirl, but it's a different form of Elastigirl in this one. But they're all, and a few others are going to be in the show too, and some new characters are going to be in the show. But those were the standouts to me. But it's coming February 15th, and it looks like DC's starting to develop their shows and lineups and things. Titans is over now. The last episode has occurred. I heard that it was some really good things because Batman was somewhat made an appearance in the episode. I'm going to actually subscribe and, just binge the whole thing and give my thoughts on it on a future episode as well on that. But I'm interested. I saw like the first 3 episodes and I was like, it's okay. This is something that can grow. Something that can really grow. And I heard they did some really cool things forward to that point. So I'll be looking forward to that. But that's coming. They also have, what is the other one? Young Justice, Outsiders is going to be coming soon. So I know people are clamoring for that one. It's been a long time coming for that. So we will see. Speaking of My Hero Academia, I should have segued that over to the Jump Force news. My Hero Academia is going to be in the list of many anime shows that has become a stage play. Now, My Hero Academia has been announced to have a stage play in April of 2019 in Japan, entitled My Hero Academia, The Ultra Stage. No real word as to what this is going to entail, but I actually got a chance to see the actual Naruto stage play. It was pretty interesting. It was okay. It was pretty cool. If I compared it to like The Lion King, no, The Lion King blows it away. The Lion King blows it away. Like The Lion King stage play blows it away. That play was absolutely no joke. But this one was pretty good. The costumes were always on point, and I think that was always the absolute cool thing. It was like the ultimate cosplay, for that matter. They doing the same thing here with this because if you see the poster for it, it looks cool. It really looks like rather a movie's coming, or like it looks like an actual motion picture or something that Boss Logic maybe have done. But no, this is going to be an actual stage play, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this and how they put that together. So remember, that does come out on April of 2019 in Japan. I don't know how long it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to entail, but get ready because I watched the Naruto play, and that was long. They covered a hell of a lot of that series in that play. So not to say that it was bad or it was boring, but it's very long. So just get ready. But luckily, My Hero Academia is only, 3 seasons long? 3 seasons deep now? And going into the 4th, which, by the way, they have officially announced online that the new season of My Hero Academia is coming in 2019. Don't hold your breath anytime soon. It's coming in October of 2019. So that, you'll have plenty of time to catch up if you haven't caught up with that series yet. You got 3 seasons to catch up with that series. So that's not coming in soon. I was looking at that, was like, that does say January, right? No, it's coming out in October in the fall of 2019. So hopefully, at least, we'll have some great animation and such, and catching up with what's going on. And of course, if you ever want to truly catch up with it, you can always read the manga version as well. Read the volumes from that, because there's always some things that they don't add on to the anime, which they did fairly well with the anime version of adding. The one thing you don't ever have to worry about with the anime and manga combination that you do with like US translations of things is that anime will always give you a direct translation or a direct condensed translation of everything from the manga. Like a lot of what you see in the manga is going to be shown in the anime. Like, there's no doubt. There's nothing ever usually missing. There may be a saga or two missing from there, some fillers added, whatever, but it's always directly from the comic, from the actual manga. And that's the part I think everybody truly appreciates about reading manga, is because what you see is what you get from both aspects. And you get to see your favorite characters come to life, and the pages just come right to life. And that is something that a lot of people always wanted to see from, DC and Marvel Comics, is their favorite sagas coming back. And there's no reason why they can't do that. So it's really weird that doesn't happen. Excuse me. All right, so last bit of news before we get into these reviews is, in fact, if you're a person like myself who doesn't really favor Christmas music, mostly because it's the same damn song that you heard over and over again from like 20 to 50 different people singing the same damn song. Excuse me. And shout out to to people like, Mariah Carey and Katy Perry and Boyz II Men, who came out with original music that still celebrates the spirit of things. All right, so here's a solution for that. You got those selections, and you got this one. If you hate Christmas music, but you love comic books and you're a Spider-Man fan, Sony has got the solution, because if you watch Into the Spider-Verse, they show a commercial with Spider-Man singing Christmas tunes. Apparently, to our fortune, that is a real album. Out everywhere right now, on iTunes, on music, everywhere. They have a Christmas album, 5 songs. One from Shamik Moore, another one from Chris Pine, another one from Jake Johnson. All of them singing their roles as their characters, as Spider-Man or Miles Morales as Spider-Man. Shamik Moore, Miles Morales' version of Joy to the World, is hilarious. It's priceless. I mean, it's basically, they changed the words around to match all of the things that they're doing, like saving the world all the time. Shamik Moore mentions how much spider fluid costs, and and then at the end he brings up a GoFundMe page to raise money to get his spider fluid. It's hilarious. So they got that going on. There's a lot of great ones in there. They even got Noir Spider-Man, doing a verse from the I guess the nights before Christmas. Let me look at this real quick. I can run it down. It's literally the best Christmas investment you could ever do. Let me go into my iPhone here and let you guys know which up here. All right, so you got Joy to the World by Shamik Moore. You got Spidey Bells from Chris Pine, which is the one that you hear from the actual, you hear that in the actual movie. Then you got Deck the Halls by Jake Johnson. You got Up on the Housetop from Chris Pine. And Jorma Taccone, as he plays the Noir Spider-Man, but he's reciting The Night Before Christmas on there. It's absolutely awesome. With that said, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is my new Christmas, all-time favorite Christmas movie. I know people go out and defend, and say that Die Hard is theirs. This one's mine. This is officially mine right now. So it's only $5.99. You can go out there, get it, check it out, enjoy it. It's the best. They did a phenomenal job. Anything Spider-Man this year was done with the absolute best. Again, thank you, Stan Lee. Thank you, Steve Ditko. Absolutely, thank you. Thank you, Sarah Pacelli. Thank you, Michael Bendis. Just everybody involved with any Spider-Man that's ever been made or designed or whatever. Thank you. 2018 was the year of the Spider for me. So thank you guys so much for that. With that said, we're going to end this segment of what's new in the world of A.C.M.G. We're going to take a break. Come back. We got 4 big reviews to talk about. We're going to talk about that right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dak Xavier Josiah, the host of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live, the podcast. You want to catch up with all of our podcast shows and hear from some of the hottest names in all of anime, comics, movies, and games, such as...
This is Miley Flanagan, the voice of Naruto.
This is Stephanie Shea, the voice of Sailor Moon.
This is Ruben Langdon, voice of Ken Masters and Dante from Devil May Cry.
Hey there, this is Kyle Hebert, the voice of Ryu from Street Fighter V.
This is Chris Battle, character designer of Teen Titans Go.
Here's your chance to check out all of that and more on TalkTimeLive.com. TalkTimeLive.com provides all of our ACMG content with new and previous episodes, exclusive interviews, articles, and much more. Visit TalkTimeLive.com and let us help you learn to let go, live life, and love all things ACMG.
Talk Time Live.
Hey there, this is Kyle Hebert, the voice of Ryu from Street Fighter V. Rise up. The answer lies in the heart of battle. You're listening to ACMG Presents Talk Time Live. Hadouken!
Do it.
And now it's time for our talk topic of the week. Ready? Fight!
All right, folks, we are back with our talk topic of the week, and it is my big 4 reviews this week. One of an anime, one of a TV series, 2 movies that came out all in the same week. All of this came out in the same week. What the hell are y'all doing to me, people? So I am going to be reviewing Bumblebee. I am going to be reviewing Aquaman, as well as BAKI, which came out on Netflix this past Tuesday, and the return of season 2 of The Runaways. And I love this because this made it into 2017. Last year, The Runaways actually, they did a weekly thing, and which Titans is doing right now in the DC universe. And I don't know what changed their mind, but this didn't allow people to do when they wanted to do best of, like we did. We couldn't add the Runaways to this because it ran over to the 2018, so you couldn't do it. This season, we got it all. We got every single episode of one season. Thank you. So it actually makes it into the ballot of best comic book TV series this year. This is awesome. You get to binge. I binged through the whole entire thing. I will talk about that last, but first I want to go through the first one, which is Bumblebee. I got to talk about this. They were talking all this mess about this movie being the best of the best, that this is the one that we always wanted to see and the one we were waiting for. They're right. They were absolutely, unbelievably right. From the first 5 to 10 minutes of this movie, I was at awe. We got to see the Transformers, not just the Transformers, the G1 design Transformers that we all grew up watching. And they made so much sense of it. The logic of these bots and everything, and the design of Optimus Prime. You're looking at this, it was like, why couldn't Michael Bay and his crew do this in the first place? No, Michael Bay wanted to troll his ass off and, just be as arrogant as possible. Now we got a guy who, in a crew who's not being arrogant, who are total fans of this series and gave it the respect that it deserved. Why they're connecting this to the entire news, to the old series, I don't know. I really think that's a bad idea. I think they should just totally reboot this entire series, act like those didn't exist or that was another universe of it. I really, just what they done with this movie, it made me happy to be a Transformers fan again. It was just great. I loved it. This was definitely the Transformers of old. Everybody looked like the Transformers of old except Bumblebee. And I think that was because they wanted to still relate it to the actual current, the series that we know now, the unfortunate series that we know now from Michael Bay. I really don't think it's worth them doing, but they did. And so you had this other version of Bumblebee in there, and it was what it was. He was the only design that I didn't like. And it was better than what it was before, the Camaro version of what it was. But I just really, and I also really hate the fact that they can scan and become anything. I like the fact that in the old series, they scanned it once, that's what they're going to be. There's no other thing they're going to change to. So I didn't like the fact that they did that, but I did like the fact that they added the two triple changer, enemies in this deal. So, but it is what it is. I'm not complaining. I'm not, nitpicking at all, but it is what it is. But I do like the fact that in the beginning, I got to watch this again. This is actually DVD worthy if you're a Transformers G1 fan too. At the beginning, they showed RC, the original RC. I'm talking like the Transformers, the movie RC. I believe there were some other ones there, but it was so much going on at that point that got to see Starscream, of course, in the series. Starscream being the one responsible for taking out Bumblebee's actual voice which led to that. And I thought that was a great little scene too as well. There was also one of my favorite scenes too was the cliff jumper scene. Unfortunately, the cliff jumper scene, because the cliff jumper's face looked just like the actual cartoon. It looked exactly like the cartoon, and it toyed to that extent, because I think it was one of the ones they got right. But he looked awesome for the few minutes that we got to see him before they murdered his ass. They murked his ass so bad in that deal. I was so pissed. So, you know, they had that in there. There was some just beautiful. Not only that, the fight scenes in the movie, you can visually see one of the major problems, the biggest problems with some of the Transformers movies from the past that Michael Bay did, was that it was hard to see what was going on because there was just so much design of it and mechanics going on. You could barely see it. You know, if you simplify that design like they did in this movie, you can absolutely see what's going on. And that's exactly what happened when you saw the fight scenes with Bumblebee and the Triple Changers. You could easily see what was going on when you saw him fighting Bumblebee. Starscream. You got to see what was going on, and so forth and so on. Prime and everything. Notice they didn't show Megatron. That was a very interesting thing. They showed Shockwave, which he looked phenomenal, absolutely stunning. That was the Shockwave of old, and it just looked awesome, absolutely looked awesome that way, and. That was, it was just so much easier to see. Just beautifully done. Just absolutely, the colors and everything was just beautifully done. They paid so much homage to the 80s cartoon, the movie, the G1, especially when they played, You Got to Touch in a certain scene in there, when she was about to dive off, when they wanted her to dive off the cliff. It was really cool. But some other notes here to add. John Cena, big deal. He was a major deal in his name. He was one of the original Sector 7 operatives in this thing, and this was perfect. This was a great role for John Cena. He's always the militant type anyway, and he, people don't give him enough credit for his actorial, abilities. He's very charismatic, and I think that's the actual center point of how he's able to flow. And he's been into some movies that they utilized him the right way. I heard Cop Blockers is really a funny movie too, and I gotta go out of my way to try to find that and see that movie as well. But he's and of course I think Trainwreck, people gave him great praise for as well. He did really well here. I thought he did a great job. He was funny. He was he was John Cena. You expect what you see from John Cena. You got John Cena. He's another one like Will Smith, where like, you bring out his personality and his charisma, just shoots, it just oozes out. He's lived more on his charisma in the wrestling game than he has in his ability. And that's not to say that he's hasn't done a great job with his ability, because he's had some really great matches with some really great people, but a lot of that was helped by those other really great people he was facing. But he was able to, do a great job. And some matches that he did weren't from those great people. He was able to carry those matches on his own, just based on his ability alone. So, there's some credit. I know people hate on John Cena a lot. I don't think it's his fault. I think it's the fault of, the company and their direction, because if that dude was the same thugonomics, ruthless aggression and, attitude era type of Cena, I think people would have still liked him. So it's kind of a, not for his fault type of thing. Same with Roman Reigns to that extent too, when, at the time when he was wrestling. But I digress. John's performance was really great. I enjoyed it. Also, kudos to him, because he is the record-setting Make-A-Wish, celebrity of over 500 Make-A-Wishes to kids. He continues that. He took a whole bunch of Make-A-Wish kids and rented out. Him and I believe Haley Steinfeld both, treated a bunch of Make-A-Wish kids to a special screening of Bumblebee, and they got to do a meet and greet as well. Say what you will about John Cena, dude's awesome. I gotta say, he's not by far not one of my favorite wrestlers, but you gotta respect what this dude does. And he, to all those who really complain and bitch and moan about him and critique him in certain ways, those same people, I doubt it, if you were in the same position as he is, that you would do nowhere near what he does. The dude is outstanding for that, and I commend him for that. Say what you will, but the dude is a star for a reason. I commend him. He could be doing so much more with celebrity. And we talk about all these celebrities out there that's doing so many stupid things out there to get themselves known, to get himself aware. When he's out in the scene, he's giving back. You can't hate on that. You really can't. The world we live in right now, you got to commend people like him for doing what he's doing. And it's not, it's not doing it for celebrity, because he could do anything else to be a celebrity. He's doing this out of morality. Think about that for a minute. So, and speaking of Haley Steinfeld, who also did great as Charlie, who I believe the character that she's playing, and she looks kind of, the way they got her hair in this one too, looks a hell of a lot like Spike with Wiki's girlfriend from the 80s cartoon, Carly, which I don't know if it's based on that character, but the hairstyle, I mean, she was a blonde in the comics. I mean, not in the comics. She was a blonde in the cartoon, with Spike, but she just looks a hell of a lot like her. And I don't know if it was inspired by that character in the cartoon, but she did a great job. Take note also, she's been on a roll too, because she played Spider-Gwen on Into the Spider-Verse as well. So she's on a roll this Christmas with both of those movies, shining bright. Pamela Adlon from Louie and Better Things played her mom. She was really great. I love that. I love this actress. When I was watching Louie before the scandal, she was one of my favorite characters because I hated her so much for what she was doing to Louie at the time. I've known people like her. She did that. She played that character and that personality to a T. She also plays on Better Things. I have not watched Better Things yet. I need to watch it. I still don't know if that's a spinoff to Louie or not, but she's a tremendous actress, and she played in here no different as the mom of Charlie in here as well. Big surprise. Well, before I even go there, the comic relief, which was Mimo, played by I don't know if he spelled it, if his name is pronounced George or Jorge or whatever, but is George Lindenberg Jr., who plays Mimo. He played a really cool, funny side character, who had sort of kind of wanted to have Charlie as a love interest. And I was kind of mad that they kind of played him out in the series. Like, they're kind of platonic friends right now, but he was trying to get with her in a sense, and she wasn't budging. Even to the end, after all that they went through, she still wasn't budging. I was kind of a little mad at that point, but it kind of made things different in this case, because it's not like he's not a bad looking dude. They play him off as a geek, but dude is in mad shape. It's crazy. I don't know. It's the 80s. What can I say? But it is what it is. My biggest surprise of seeing in this movie was Glenn Turman, who plays Colonel Taylor in A Different World and Preach from Cooley High. I mean, I knew he's played in a bunch of other things, How to Get Away with Murder and all this stuff, but that's my favorite characters that he's ever played. So I always love to see him in there too as well. So he played once again I don't know if he was a general or colonel in the movie, but he was in here. He's a great surprise to see teaming up with Cena and all that stuff in Sector 7 and such. And take note, funniest thing of the movie is that apparently the Triple Changers, the Decepticons, they actually created the internet. They were responsible for creating the internet for the government, which then is the very internet that we're doing right now. So I thought that was a little great side comedy moment for them that they incited. That, the reason why we have the World Wide Web is because of the Decepticons. Thank you, all hell Megatron in that case. So we have that. We also, just overall, just the actual movie itself, it had a great story development, everything going on. Getting a chance to see all of that is great. They did a great job with this movie. If you're a Transformers fan, you were wondering, and you saw that there was a high 97% Rotten Tomatoes, they've earned it. They have absolutely earned it. My hope is that they keep the design style through the sequel, because apparently it looks like there will be a sequel. I hope that there is. They just need to keep leading up to that situation. Like, just do a whole new series of the Autobots and Decepticons leading up to that situation where they meet Spike, because they could do a whole lot now that it's based on the 80s and just go back. I really hope so, man, because they did a great job here. I would love to see it and just erase I don't want to say erase everything, but because I still love the first Transformers movie. That was so near and dear. They did a great job with that. It's just that the design, the design of it, it's just, they didn't have to, like, or just act like we didn't see what we saw those and some of those. You know, we do need to get rid of the skids, and I forgot the other racist Transformers that they had in here, but it's just atrocious, man. So if you are aching to see a great Transformers movie, fear not. Bumblebee is the best of them all. Guaranteed. It is everything that everybody said it was and more. So what I don't agree with is some of the commercials saying that it was the most rated show ever, because Into the Spider-Verse still rolls that up until now, at least. So yeah, go out of your way to see it. It is definitely Blu-ray worthy or digital download worthy for those who are wondering as well. So when it comes out, so definitely go out of your way to see that. Another one I'm going to give praise to. We didn't know how this was going to go. It wasn't too much hype because I think everybody was just very skeptical and yet cynical about anything that DC Films comes out with. But I'm happy to say I absolutely enjoyed Aquaman. It was a great movie. I thought, they did a great job with this. It was, in my opinion, beautiful to watch, easy to enjoy. If I had to word it any way to that in one sentence, that's what I would say. Jason Momoa definitely redefined one of the most unwanted characters in not even just DC universe history, comic book history. He was the running joke for years. If you watch shows like Big Bang Theory, they make fun of him there. If you watch, just everything, Family Guy, constantly making fun of this cat. He's been a running joke of the comic book universe for well over a decade at this point, especially going into the 90s and 2000s. Yeah, because people started realizing, like, dude, why is he so special? Well, you could thank Jason Momoa for this, because whoever casted him as Aquaman and redeveloped this character to be the badass character that he is in this thing, man, I tell you what, you no longer, he is, like, just same way that they did with Robin. Robin was at one point the former joke, and I think Aquaman dethroned him, but they made, Robin into Nightwing, and the role of Robins have changed over the years with Jason Todd and now Damian Wayne, who I think, in my opinion, Damian Wayne is the best of them all. He's the only one I think that's going to be suitable to become Batman whenever they kill him off or whatever. I still say that's happening, but excuse me for a minute. Man, it gets dry after a while, people. It gets dry. But, I really think that they did a great job. Jason Momoa is going to redefine that character immediately. You couldn't have found a better person. You could not have found a better person for him. And it's funny, I watched TMZ a lot, of course, as I mentioned a lot, and they showed old pictures of Jason Momoa when he was modeling. Dude, that dude is no joke. Like, he's like scruffy hot to people now. He could have played the Aquaman that we known, but I don't think it would have worked as good as he is now with the beard and all the stuff. He kind of looks like, Samoan, warrior like that right now. Cause he looked like kind of teen idol, to that extent to people, but he extraordinary. The dude looks extraordinary even without the beard and all this stuff. But if he would have played that role after the fact of, doing that version, it looked like the original version of what we thought Aquaman. I don't think it would have worked as good. I don't think it would have worked as good at all. I think people like the scruffy looking, warrior, Samoan, tribe warrior looking Jason Momoa much better. It fits. It just fits. It gives him a more edgier, badass look in this case. So, Amber Heard as Mira. What can I say? She is like how I imagine women look at diamonds and marvel at diamonds. Just looking at her through the entire film is the exact way I picture how women look at diamonds and marvel at diamonds, especially the ones with complete clarity. She is diamond cut. She's beyond diamond cut cute. She's just absolutely stunning and pulls off one of the best wet looks I've ever seen in my life. Every time she comes out the water, I've seen a lot of women, beautiful women, do the water modeling pictures. There's a lot of stunning women who do that in Sports Illustrated. I don't think I've ever seen anybody look as good as what Amber Heard does when she comes out of the water, man. It's absolutely phenomenal. But she was great as Mira. You know, she did her thing when she was doing the powers and everything. There was a great scene where they were, I think, in Italy, and she was in a winery. And God, I feel bad for the person who owns that winery because I hope they insured because they got a lot of work to do at this point. But it was a really cool moment of her taking the wine, you know, and her being able to control aquatic elements, water elements, if you will, and being able to, you know, go away with it. And she was awesome in here as well. I thought they did a great job with the women being as badass as, you know, Jason Momoa as well. Their fight scenes were just as great as well. And they didn't feel like damsels in distress, which is the great new thing that they're doing in movies now. Thank goodness. So absolutely enjoyed that there. William Dafoe. It's William Dafoe, man. What else could you say about William Dafoe? Dude. I mean, it's William Dafoe. He was great. What can I say? You know, he played kind of second to Dolph Lundgren's King Nearest in here, and you know he was always training, you know, Arthur to be the king that they needed in Atlantis, you know. It was absolutely awesome trying to, you know, make sure that he gets to get the trident from King Atlan, and you know, he did a great job. I thought it was awesome. The movie itself is, I mean, it's just awesome indeed. Now, I'll explain why. There were some elements of really great other movies that I felt that this movie kind of took pages from, and I could be totally wrong, but it's just a great adventure movie from here. Nicole Kidman at the very beginning as Arthur's mother, just a clear badass. She really set the tone. Her fight scene reminded me of Kill Bill. When you saw, who was it? It was, you know, Uma Thurman and, why am I blacking out on her name? Oh, Vivica A. Fox. Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, so, I mean, that scene when she was fending off the Atlanteans to save her husband, you know, and Arthur, it reminded me of that fight scene at the very beginning of Kill Bill. It was like that kind of badass. And they really did a great job with Nicole Kidman, you know, looking as badass as she could be in that scene as well. And she was just, I loved her character throughout the entire movie as well. So I really appreciated how they made the women in this movie very strong indeed. Dolph Lundgren was a great surprise to me because, you know, we know him ultimately as Drago. And Drago never really had that many parts up until the new Creed 2 movie. And you don't get a chance to see him just branch out as much and do different roles. And I liked him as King Nearest, which was Amira's father in this movie. And, you know, him on Expendables and him here and all this stuff, it's just, you don't understand. He's not the best actor in the world, but he's good at they utilize him, much like John Cena. They utilize him for what he can do and work with it, and he works very well with it. He's an astounding genius, if you will. A lot of people I don't think understand how really good of a, you know, actor and a mindful man he is as well. So I thought he did really good. It allowed him to branch out and get away from the Drago, you know, moniker, and I thought he did a really good job here. But one of my favorite characters here was played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. This is not a stage name. That is his real name. Nobody would make that into a stage name. So he played Black Manta. And, dude, he played that part well. I thought he was the best. I loved the way how they treated that role. You know, he's a, you know, underwater pirate. You know, he did his thing. He worked with with King Om, and man, how he put together the Manta suit was so cool. I love that scene. The costume design in this thing too. We'll talk about that too. But man, did they do that? I think that played a big part of this movie as well. They didn't change a damn thing. So I mean, also the cool thing, another great surprise here was Michael Beach. You guys see him in so many different movies. Soul Food, Sons of Anarchy. He's on that series. But he's always the consummate bad guy. He's always the antagonist. I mean, we talk about people being typecasted. If you're going to be typecast, you damn sure better be typecasted ready to do the right thing. We see Mahershala Ali also. Luckily, he's branching out of being typecasted as the bad guy, but when he does it tremendously. Michael Beach deserves that credit as well. That dude, it's hard not to not want to make him a bad guy in a movie because when he does it, or a show, when he does it, it's so damn good. And he's played none other than, Manta's father in this, and how the storyline of how, Aquaman didn't save him and everything and let him die, it kind of gave, Manta every reason to want to go after. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword with this thing. But at least we see, Arthur actually starting to realize that maybe he should have thought about doing that differently, going about that differently. But it was great to see him in there. Patrick Wilson as King was great as well. I mean, just everybody did such a tremendous role here. But the best part of all, none of this would have worked had the character design been on point. And they were on point. Arthur with the full Aquaman suit, even with the full Aquaman suit that we all know and love, he looked badass. Mira looked ultra hot in her gear too. But I think the best nod goes to Manta's, armor and his gear, and King when he put on that face mask. And the face mask moved. That was weird. But he put on that face mask, and it just looked absolutely tremendous. Just like the comic books. They didn't stare away at all. I wish all of the action, credit to the director and everybody involved. I wish all of the DC comics were this damn good. So far, I'll give them 2.5. No, I like Man of Steel too. I don't care. I actually like Man of Steel. Wonder Woman was tremendous. Still the best of them all. I now give Aquaman in this realm. Justice League was just a movie. It was just a movie with comic books to me. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just a movie. But they did a great job with this, and it looks like there will be a sequel as to the end credits with this. I don't know what they're doing. A lot of us still don't know what they're doing in the direction of what this movie is going to do, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully they'll continue to try to, put a strong hold on the universe storyline. I don't know why they try to go a different. It's a easy formula to do. You see the Arrowverse is doing it. The DCW universe is like what I like to call it. They're doing tremendously well. What they did with Elseworlds is going to be insane, and they're continuing off from there. And, but they have this DC film universe. They got this Arrowverse universe. They also have this other universe from Fox in Gotham. None of it connects. None of it. It's just crazy. And I know there's a multiverse thing going on, but people just want to see it all connect like they do in Marvel, because it's a beautiful thing to do when you connect it all together. So there you are. And by the way, Gotham is coming back, and this will be the final series, and they're saying that we're going to see the Dark Knight. The kid, Bruce Wayne kid, he's getting older every single time. He's growing. I don't know if they found out if the dude had they 23 and meet the guy, and they all of a sudden discovered that he had a growth spurt that is rapid, but the dude is getting older very quickly. So he's going to be in that role. He's going to fit that role pretty soon. I'm actually looking forward to seeing. I know there's a lot of people who don't really follow the Gotham series as much, but I think it is, for what it's worth, it's their telling of it. It's their reimagination of it, and I enjoy it for what it is in here. So let's talk about BAKI, which I've been waiting since 2007 for them to come out with. And they did 2 majorly good seasons on, for the anime series. And if you don't know what BAKI is, has been out since the 80s, and it's based on a kid named BAKI Hamna, who was like a 15-year-old kid with an extraordinary ability to fight, mixed martial arts style, whatever. But this is before mixed martial arts was ever existed, before the Gracies ever came to America and, formed the Ultimate Fighting Championships. So their idea back then was to come out with a underground fighting, tournament. And not even just a fighting tournament, but just an arena of fights. Only certain people were allowed to do this. The funny part about this was that the fights appeared under the Tokyo Dome. Like, there's apparently supposed to be secret layers of the Tokyo Dome that was built for this underground tournament. The crazy part about all right, for wrestling fans, or even back then, Pride fans for mixed martial artists, say if there was Pride in the Tokyo Dome or Wrestle Kingdom in the Tokyo Dome, right underground while that's going on, they're having this ultra violent martial arts tournament, of some of the most dangerous people in the world underground of all this. So I thought that was appealing as hell. So BAKI Hanma just happens to be the champion. This 50-year-old kid is beating the hell out of these really dangerous older people, including this guy at one point called the Cord Cutter, who he pokes his fingers into your body and cuts the cords of your body, not allowing you to utilize any of certain parts of your anatomy, including your eyesight, which he took Baki's eyes out from seeing, or he just took out his arm, which, he technically almost felt like he had a stroke to some extent. It was one of the most brutal OVA animes ever of this. And it was started off as an OVA. And then I think during the 2000s, they end up making a series out of this. And it became a series that led up to that same moment of the OVA and then after the events of the OVA, and they came out with a tournament. And they also created one of the most evil men and evil antagonists ever in anime history. That is Yujiro Hamna. Yujiro is one of the, if you've not seen the series, Frieza, Captain, what is his name? From Bleach, the captain from Bleach has nothing on Yujiro Hamna. Even Gendo Ikari from which I thought was one of the most evil dudes ever. Gendo Ikari from Neo Genesis Evangelion doesn't even pass for this. I think the only person that would probably top Yujiro almost is the guy from Full Metal. The father from Full Metal who took his daughter and dog and, put them together. But other than that, this dude is so badass. The guy is so badass that many who watched it and are also fighting game fans have compared him. It constantly compares him to Akuma. And there's a big always discussion and debate as to which one is more cutthroat and dark of a character in here. So, man, this is crazy. So, after this second season, when when they had that tournament and everything, they're continuing off from the manga here. So this leaves off from the second underground tournament of season 2 back in 2007, where BAKI tries to live a normal life with his neighbor and the girl that he actually is attracted to. He's finally revealing that he likes this girl, and they end up dating. And this girl is so insanely in love with this kid that everything he does or says, it feels like she gets off on it. It's the best way I can put it in this case. You got to watch it to see, but really orgasmic. It's really crazy, but it's meanwhile, while he's still training and going to school and everything, and trying to live a normal life in different parts of the world, in some of the darkest prisons and in most, darkest, dangerous prisons in the world, with some of the most dangerous people, about 5 of the most dangerous and murderous prisoners all break out at the same time and all head to Japan because they all want to face BAKI, or they feel this aura that, that wants them to come to Japan to go face BAKI in this tournament. And this leads to a whole new style of tournament which they create, which has no arena and no rules. Anywhere in Japan that these guys meet up, they end up fighting and trying to kill each other. Legit. So it's like, it's great. It's crazy. Anywhere, anytime you can fight, you can die. So this is a whole new level of gaming, because the idea for them was like, if you're fighting in tournament rules, you don't get the unexpected nature of what can happen. If you're truly a martial artist, you're prepared for anything. And that's what led to this whole rule set. So they're going around Japan just like creating havoc, and the police can't stop, are trying to stop them, and Interpol is trying to stop them, and they're going through all types of links to actually try to stop these guys. Meanwhile, Yujiro is noticing this too. They don't necessarily lead into what he's going to do about it or what's happening with him, but noticeably he is aware of things. He's keeping an eye on Baki to be sure as well. So I don't know what that's going to lead to, because the series is only 13 episodes long, and they do kind of cut you in a way here. So but the great part about this series is the powerhouse of actors that are in here. Some of the favorite actors from your favorite video games and your favorite animes is in here, including Troy Baker, who's playing Baki, the main character in here. Different voice from the original series, and he fits it very well. I like the way he do it. Kyle Habert is back, friend of the actual show. He plays as Spec. Really, really crazy character. Excuse me. Another great character, Johnny Young Bosch as Doyle. If you guys know him as Nero on Devil May Cry. He's also Ichigo Kurosaki from Bleach. I mean, he plays a lot of great characters as well. We also got Vic Mignogna, who plays Shibukawa in this as well. Another crazy, I believe is which is the older guy who everybody underestimates, and he winds up like beating the hell or killing everybody in the deal. Vic Mignogna, as you know, is Edward Elric from Full Metal Alchemist, as you heard on a soundbite of the beginning of this actual episode, as well as he is Broly in the upcoming Dragon Ball Super movie, which everybody's saying is tremendous, by the way, who's seen the Japanese version of it so far. So I can't wait to see him on there as well. But he's in this as well. Steve Bloom as Doppo of the Shinshin Kai as well. I mean, they have and there are many more known names in this series as well. I mean, it's just very, very good powerhouse. Like the best of the best are in this series, and for a reason. This is a very manly, very, very, very manly, violent anime here, and you gotta have the best voices to do it as well. Very action packed, insanely violent as hell. I mean, like, this is one of those animes that you watch if anybody was back in the day. I've said this before, but back in the late 80s and 90s, when people really started discovering animation and Japanimation, as it was called back then, there was nothing but adult content that you saw. Now you see a lot of kids anime coming out to cater to the younger demographic, but back then anime was strictly adult oriented, so to see it branch out now is great. But how we used to test people, if they really were going to be fans, they were blown away by the visuals of it. But you could tell when you're an anime fan, you were initiated as an anime fan when you can stomach anime like Legend of the Overfiend, Fist of the North Star, bio boosted Guyver, Bow. Those are some really highly violent. Wicked City. Some insanely beautifully visual but violent anime that you watch. This is in that realm, because Baki was out back then, and that OVA came out, and it was like, whoa, this is not the Karate Kid. This is not, any of those other martial arts films. This is not these guys are going at it, and they're trying to kill each other here. So, this, if you are into martial arts films, if you're a mixed martial arts fan, this is for you. But there's only 13 episodes, and they do leave you wanting so much more. I looked at IMDb, and it looks like there are 19 episodes out right now. So it looks like they've saved about 6 more episodes that'll be coming soon. I'm hoping that's the case, because I need to see the end of what's going on here. And I hope that they do a lot more. The animation here looks phenomenal. It looks like it exactly what you would expect from the original BAKI series. There was it didn't look diluted, like, say, when they did for Dragon Ball Super in the first few sagas up until the Tournament of Power. So I'm hoping that they keep the quality of this, because the quality looks even better than before. There was some very great animation scenes in there with the fighting and such. I absolutely loved it. This is, like I said, you're a mixed martial arts fan, you're a fighting game fan, you are just a martial arts fan, this is for you. Absolutely. Go out of your way. If you own Netflix, go out of your way to check it out. If you don't own Netflix, and you're an anime fan, this may be one of the movie, if you're a hardcore anime fan, this may be one of the reasons why you can check it out. And if you're a BAKI fan and wanted to see the new series of BAKI, Netflix got it for you. So jump on it. And it's in both English and Japanese dub as well. So it has something for everybody as well. Lastly, we have the review in return of season 2 of Marvel's The Runaways. And if you heard my review a year ago when they came out in 2017 and in the late 2000, right about now, and they did a week by week deal, which it was okay, but it was like, I'm glad Hulu went out of that and decided to let us binge the whole thing. And I don't know if it was because the Titans was doing the things their way and they decided to turn back. And I believe Sci-Fi will be getting it soon anyway, so it gives everybody who owns Hulu a chance to watch it early. But this series continues to be one of the best series. And last year, this would have been possibly the best series of 2017, but it didn't make it because of what they did. But they're back now. The problem is, excuse me. The problem is that they're competing against a lot of great shows this year. Black Lightning, Arrow came back into the helm of being a great first half season. You got Flash that returned from a kind of a weak season last year, which is rare for them, but they're coming back to become a really great season. And then the whole, Supergirl possibly being the best of them all, in my opinion, being out there. And then just so many great shows out that came out this year. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., ended off the way they did. It's just so great that they hit. And Marvel, Cloak and Dagger too. We got that, starting off the way it did. So you got the Runaways in here, and they're continuing off from the last season where the kids ran away from their evil, murderous parents, who are not stopped murdering this season, by the way, and who framed the kids for murder themselves to get them back home, possibly. But the kids are struggling a bit, being homeless and being runaways, trying to find a place to live, and trying to find ways to expose their families and pride of their wrongdoings. Such. You got Jonah still trying to stay alive with his current body, but since the events of the last season, he's been struggling with that as well. He's trying to awaken all of his other alien brother and his sister folk from the hole in the ground, which you saw last season. They kind of, poke back at that whole situation as well. Meanwhile, Alex goes to work for his father, Jeffrey's frenemy, pretty much, Darius, who also wants to take his father down, and not realizing that it's Alex's mom who's really behind all this, and she's the big major threat of this whole entire thing. So she's the reason why they kind of split apart. She never liked Darius, and you'll find out soon enough why she doesn't like Darius in here. I will try not to spoil as much of it because I know people are still watching it. It just came out like this Friday, so I won't spoil this one completely, but yeah, she does some really evil shit. Pretty much. Alex, also hooks up with Darius's wife's sister in here, which to some extent Nico's unhappy with. I don't understand why. She knows that she exists, but I guess because she now is being joined up with the crew to some extent, became a whole thing. Nico, on the other hand, has got full ownership of the staff that she was trying to get last season, that she has it this season, thanks to her mom, who begins to, and now the staff begins to consume Nico with this dark power. And, Nico's mom does kind of point this out that, like, the only thing I'm worried about her having is what's happened to me with this case. And it's starting to show that it's happening to her. But, Carolina may be the definite solution to this, because her power of light may actually help Nico's power of darkness in somehow, some way in here. But speaking of Carolina, or Carolina, in this, also meets up. She begins to meet. It's like they try to run away from their parents, but they don't really run away from the parents, because each one of them tend to go back to their parents in some form or fashion. So it's like you're doing everything but running away in some cases. But I digress. Carolina actually also meets up with Jonah to pretty much learn more about her alien birthright and how to use her powers distinctively without the band. So she does figure out how to do it, but there's a lot of secrets being kept from a lot of the team members here. So you kind of got this, this dissension in the, in the ranks, if you will. Chase is kind of, hot on Alex, because Alex is not telling them where he's getting all this money from, which is from Darius, of course. And Darius really comes off in this season like he is really the protagonist almost to him as well. He does what he does on the streets, but he almost kind of means well. All this is a means to an end to him in this case, which is a common thing in around the way. People do things, for it to be a means to an end, only for it a lot of times to be the end, unfortunately. So you got that. And then, throughout the season, there's an interesting new character that comes in that may come out to be an antagonist to the crew, which is shown in the comic books, and that is their encounter with the character Topher. Topher is actually a really interesting character here. In the comics, from what I understand and what I research, he is supposed to be an immortal vampire that they come across throughout times of the comic book. But in this universe, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it is in fact the Marvel Cinematic Universe, for a reason, I'll mention that in a minute, he is encountered using the same rock element that Molly encountered when she was a kid, giving them certain amount of powers, only he gets kind of addicted to this powers. He doesn't age as much anymore like he used to. It's almost like he's almost kind of like a Vandal Savage type of character. He has superhuman abilities in here as well. So you're going to find out what happens to him, and what's going to happen to him later on in the series from there. But he's a great addition. It's funny because me and Jeffrey Thorne on our interview, if you guys haven't heard the interview with myself and Marvel writer and showrunner of Marvel's Avengers Black Panther's Quest, Disney XD TV show. I just had an interview with him recently. We talked about how some of the new characters like Miles Morales, Miss Marvel, the entire Champions, catalog and the new series Champions, which I love that new group with also Riri Williams. None of them have a great antagonist right now. And that's the thing that's missing from Marvel Comics right now, is that these guys don't have I can say Miles kind of had an antagonist because he had the Prowler, but other than that, he doesn't have anybody yet. And I know last time I read the Champions that they were developing a new character in there for him. So I don't know where that's going to lead to. And there was a new group that they were tagged. So they're slowly going about that with those characters. So hopefully they will pretty much do that. But I haven't seen anything yet from them as far as that. And the fact that Jeffrey has mentioned that they still need antagonists tells me that they haven't yet, but hopefully they will. But Tougher in this case may be the solution for the Runaways as well as the parents. So the Runaways do have their own antagonists, and that's the parents as well. So that's the good thing. But all the other characters in the Marvel comic universe, I'm still waiting for that. I'm still waiting. Like, Miles desperately needs his own crew. He needs his own antagonistic group of villains that really stand on their own and, really can make an impact on all of them. So we'll see on that note. But meanwhile, the couples in this series this season is interesting as well. Nico and Carolina, who kind of got together in season 1, they're having a little bit of issues because, Carolina is keeping secrets from her, and, Nico is trying to, keep the keep the whole entire group together, while Alex, who should be leading the group, is doing his own thing secretly as well. You also have Gert and Chase, who got together in season 1 as well. Gert has been having medical issues because she is on meds, and I think she's I don't know if they never really explained whether she has a bipolar syndrome, and she is taking meds right now to actually, calm herself down. And she had to go to great lengths to try to medicate herself. Some of it, which means that she had to betray some of her teammates and Chase in order to do so. So you got that situation going on there. And then you got Nico, who also finds out from Carolina that Jonah killed her. It was the reason why I said I wasn't going to spoil it, but I got to mention this. But Carolina mentioned to Nico that Jonah was the reason why her sister died. That causes a lot of hell too between the two, and as a result, at the first half of the season there too, you could very much tell when the first half of the season comes there too as well. So all in all, this was another great season. They are leading off to some really great things. Some really developments going on there. I loved it just as much as I loved the first season. It's just staying strong. What I really love about it is I think they did reveal that this was a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe before. I don't believe too, but it was definite now because Alex mentioned Wakanda in a conversation with, I believe, his girlfriend. So absolutely, they've clearly marked this for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is absolutely a part of the universe. I'm very happy to hear that because that was the biggest question. And I knew the only way I kind of figured is because of how the show was produced and how the show was made. It kind of was produced in the same fashion as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and how the show started and everything. So I am extremely happy to know that this is a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this is great. So I am looking forward. Hopefully, they'll connect more to it as well. Hopefully, they'll connect them with Cloak and Dagger. I would love to see a crossover of Cloak and Dagger and those two together when Cloak and Dagger comes back as well. So some great stuff happening here. If you haven't watched Runaways yet, go out of your way. You got 2 seasons of The Runaways. It's a great reason to own Hulu. Hopefully this will stay on Hulu and this will not be canceled at all from the series like everything else, because we're, January, The Punisher's coming. So we're expecting that to, we're crossing our fingers that it won't stay, and as well as Jessica Jones down the line. We're hoping that it still stays there. And there's also rumors that the other ones will be revived on Disney Plus. I'm hoping I really hope that's not the case, because I'm not getting Disney Plus. I'm not getting Disney Plus at all. I'm not. No way in hell. No way in hell. I'll find a way to see it some other way or what, but I'm not. I just can't. At this point, I can't. I'm only getting a month of DC Universe just for the fact of binging Titans pretty soon, and that's it. I'm not continuing off of that. It's too much. I need to see the downfall of streaming sites all migrated back to rather Hulu or Netflix. That is it. Everybody's trying to stretch out the penny. How much can you stretch for too long on that? So hopefully we'll see something new, but at least for now, The Runaways is exclusively on Hulu until it gets on Sci-Fi, I believe, later on. But go out of your way to check it out. It's awesome. Great series. And the Marvel Cinematic Universe will continue in 2019 and beyond, it looks like. So we'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. This has been great. This has been a great year. I definitely very much enjoyed 2018. This has been a great year, not just doing the podcast, but, venturing out to do some more things, to meet some more people. Thank you to everybody. And we're going to talk about that on the best of 2018. There's so much to think and to talk about and people to think. But of all the people, and I'll talk about this too, I will be before the season of the year's over, I will be uploading some of the other interviews that I have to upload as well. So you'll get a chance to re-listen to some of the great interviews that we had on this show in here as well. So, but all in all, the one person I do want to thank is Molly Flanagan, the voice of Naruto. She's been such an angel to me. And again, I say this all the time, but I can't thank her enough for being the friend that I needed this year, for just being a great supporter of everything that I'm doing right now. I wish her a happy holidays. I wish Lisa a happy holidays, her partner. And they have been so great to me. I can't stress that enough. For what they did, it definitely a gift in itself in this holiday season. A friend to me to when others weren't, more of a friend to me than when others weren't. Just all in all, the best. If anything, I got to thank her, and I'll be thanking a lot of her and a lot of other people on the best of 2018 as well, going down the line. So, thanks everybody who's been on the show. Amanda Celine Miller, Vic Mignogna, Jeffrey Thorne, just Megaran, at Keystone, Brian Stephenson from Keystone, Comic-Con, Repop, we got a chance to, do some work with Repop, here it is, A.C.M.G and Repop. Who would have thought? But speaking of Repop, I mean, for God's sake, Kevin Conroy, ladies and gentlemen, I actually got a chance to interview Batman. Kevin Conroy was absolutely on the top of my list of people I ever wanted to ask questions and interview. And to be in that press room and be able to ask him the questions that I did, and him just looking back to me and looking at my camera, it was an awesome moment that I don't really think I really embellished, because I was so in the mood of, just covering everything I could possibly can and, gain everything I can from that event. Kevin Conroy, Batman. You don't get better. Well, it's just one of the best. I don't want to say I can't get better than that, but man, to get that legend and have the A.C.M.G logo slapped on it, I couldn't be more than happy. Thank you to Brian Stephenson and Repop for ever putting that together. That was just one of the biggest highlights of 2018 for me. I can tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, hard work does pay off. And if you want to have fun, do what you love. Have fun with it. You got to work hard to have fun to do it, though. I will tell you that. I will not stress that enough. I will always say that. And it shows. It will always show. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you the best in holiday season. Merry Christmas to everybody. And best of 2018 is coming. And then also for Select Start, the 5 or maybe top 10 games of 2018 that I've played. So I will be talking about that there. But for now, happy holidays. Merry Christmas. I love you all. Thank you so much. Bless you. On behalf of myself, this is Dak Xavier Josiah saying, learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is A.C.M.G presents Talk Time Live. Merry Christmas, everybody. Take care. Of A.C.M.G presents Talk Time Live is brought to you in part by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design. Your choice for web design, graphic design, and all multimedia development needs. Visit VFISAD.com and let us bring your vision to reality.